Alright guys, so we're running late to Jumanji. So yeah. I'm about to walk in, so let's go.
Are you willing to fight? Help us save the Oasis.
Alright guys, so I watched Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I really wanted to see this in 3D, but I had no other choice but a regular standard 2D showing, but you know, that's fine because I still had a lot of fun and the theater was packed. Like, it was in the biggest auditorium in the theater and it was almost sold out. So for a day like before Christmas Eve when I saw this movie, I'm surprised it was even that packed. I would expect that on Christmas Day, but not on the 23rd, you know. But yeah, I was just kind of surprised to see the theater pretty packed. So in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, we have these 4 teenagers who are like in this Saturday detention, and then they find this video game, and then they decide to kind of play around with it. They choose their characters, and they actually get sucked into the game, also known as Jumanji. So now in order to get out of the video game and make it out alive, they have to beat the game. So when I heard about this movie, I kind of thought of a reboot or a remake of Jumanji, which is basically what they were kind of trying to do. But once you actually see the movie, it's not really a remake or a reboot at all. It's kind of like a sequel, but this movie could stand alone as a sequel, so you don't really have to watch the original Jumanji in order to understand this one, because the first one, it's a billboard game. Here, it's a video game. Jumanji might just come off as the biggest surprise of 2017. This movie could have either been really good or really bad. Luckily, it leans a lot towards the good side. The Rock did really solid in this movie. It's not really the type of character that you are used to seeing him play, because when you think of The Rock, you're going to think of something, or you know, The Rock being in a movie, you're going to think of something like Baywatch or Fast and Furious. Especially Fast and Furious, since it's a much known franchise, and he is such a badass in those movies, and don't get me wrong, he's a badass in this movie as well. But remember, basically in this movie, the kid that gets trapped in his body, he's like a skinny kid, so he doesn't really have any experience with being someone who, like The Rock would be. So The Rock kind of sometimes kind of acting like a wimp sometimes, which it actually turns out to be pretty funny at times. Kevin Hart, just like expected, he is playing Kevin Hart in this movie, but I do really like him in this movie because he also has a lot of the best moments here, but easily the best actor in this movie, or best performance in this movie, has to go to Jack Black. Jack Black is basically playing a 17-year-old teenage girl for the whole movie, and you know, it's a girl trapped in Jack Black's body. This actually makes for some genuine funny humor in the movie. And Karen Gillan is also very good in this movie. I'm glad she's getting a lot of recognition with this movie because her her best role going on right now is in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies as Nebula. And not a lot of people know that Karen Gillan is the one playing Nebula in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, just because it doesn't really look like her. But with this movie, she's getting a ton of fame, and I'm really glad she is, because I thought she was really good in this movie. Nick Jonas also has a small role, and for what he does, he's fine in this movie. I thought he was good. He was actually more in this movie than I expected. But what I just love about this movie is the casting, because each and every one of the characters in this movie, they're each playing the opposite of what they actually look like. The action scenes are surprisingly very well made, even though there are some times that you could kind of tell, you know, that's CGI and that's green screen right there. For the most part, the action scenes were really entertaining and, you know, well made. For me and every other audience in the theater, the humor seemed to have landed in the right place. A lot of people are complaining about the humor, how sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. So for me, it actually landed a lot. About 95% of the jokes really landed in this movie for me. I guess the reason behind that is because I didn't really expect this movie to be all that funny. I just expected a fun movie, but this, I didn't expect it to be funny. No, this movie was funny, and like a huge part of that has to do with Jack Black and Kevin Hart. Now, the villain in this movie, who is played by Bobby Cannavale. I like Bobby Cannavale. I liked him in this movie, just that the character that he was given. The villain in this movie, he is a weak villain, and he is very underdeveloped. Now, we do have about a brief minute in the movie where we get some backstory to his character on why he is the bad guy of Jumanji, but his character is just so damn undeveloped that I just didn't really care for him all that much. But I will say this, the villain in Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is a much better villain than Steppenwolf in Justice League. Yes, I said it because it's true. In a way, this movie actually mocks video games, which I thought was actually a pretty smart move for this movie. Overall, Jumanji 2 Welcome to the Jungle, it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to get into the story, but in the end, it all paid off because it's some of the most fun I had in the theater in 2017. And with that being said, it's also one of the best video game movies out there. And this movie is not even an actual video game. So maybe studios should start doing their own video game movies instead of adapting out of video games and kind of ruining those franchises like Warcraft and Assassin's Creed. So Sony, I really respect you a lot, not only for this but for other movies like Baby Driver. I have officially forgiven you for the Emoji Movie. I think this movie's full price worthy, and I'm gonna give Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle a B+. Yes, go out and see this movie in theaters. I think it's a lot of fun. You're really gonna enjoy this movie and have a ton of fun with this movie. It's easily some of the funnest 2 hours I've had in a theater. But anyways, that leads up to you guys. Have you guys seen Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle? If you guys seen it, what did you guys think about it? Tell me in the comment section down below. As always, also, this is the very last movie day of 2017, so I want to thank you all guys for sticking with me and my movie days and reviews of 2017. Best of the year list probably coming around mid-January or February. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.